Joe Brennan was born in 1934 to Irish immigrant parents on Munjoy Hill in Portland, Maine. His dad worked longshore. His mom raised Joe and his 7 brothers and sisters in a tiny apartment on Kellogg Street. Joe attended Cathedral Grammar School, Cheverus High School, Boston College, the University of Maine School of Law, and served in the U.S. Army for 2 years. Joe went on to serve as county attorney, state representative, state senator, attorney general, governor, and congressman. Brennan's 2 terms as governor were one of the most productive 8-year periods of public achievements in all of Maine's history.
Well, I made a decision I'm going to run. I believe in being straight with the people. And I think since I'm definitely decided to go, I may as well so say it.
These past 3 years have been a time of great challenge for the people of Maine. We faced the challenge of Maine's historic economic problems, and we met the challenge with fish piers, cargo ports, shipyards, potato packing sheds, and 20,000 new jobs. We faced the challenge of the spiraling need for services for the elderly, the handicapped, for children, and for the poor. And we met the challenge with daycare, with homemaker services, and a level of support for poor children that puts our money where our heart is. We faced the challenge of a prison had passed out of control of the state to control of the inmates, and we met that challenge by reasserting control. We faced the challenge of the needless slaughter on the highways, and we met that challenge with a tough new law that has reduced fatal accidents by nearly 40%. We faced the challenge that each Maine person must live with, and that is the great burden of energy cost. And we met that challenge with weatherization, conservation programs, and a public advocate to fight for their interest. We faced the greatest challenge of all, how to meet the needs of our people when costs were soaring without increasing taxes. We met that challenge by creative new ideas for managing the public's resources.
At the core was that he values people, not the people as much as individual people.
The Kennedy belief that government can change life, government can change the quality of life for people. If we all get together, we get excited and do something, it can really work.
He had a very, very strong sense of social justice.
He had a great sense of Maine's needs, but he also had, a set of principles that guided his own behavior.
He had a lot of really admirable leadership qualities that I think put him on a special level in Maine state government.
I would compare him right alongside Ed Muskie as being one of the best governors that I ever dealt with.
He had one admonition. There was one thing that he said. He said, listen, we're going to be here for 4 to 8 years. Let's leave the place a little bit better off than how we found it.
Democrats were sort of portrayed as big spenders or trying to. I wanted to show that we could manage the government fiscally. I wanted to get the state's credit upgraded by Wall Street, and we did, and we were proud of that.
I think of Joe Brennan as a direct lineal descendant of the Roosevelt, Truman, Lyndon Johnson, Tip O'Neill. What can we do to help the working people and the poor people have a better life? And how can we referee this capitalist economy to make it a little more fair? He believed in it, and he didn't need pollsters telling him what he thought. He knew what he thought.
I'm proud of a lot of the people I got to come into government who were very smart. What I did is I looked for people that were smarter than me, and I could find them everywhere, and people that were loyal, and I believed when they came to work in my administration, I would give them a long leash, and I'd back them through difficult times.
He was involved in government because he wanted to make people's lives better.
We pushed legislation called the Home Program, which made it possible for more people to buy their own first home. And as I campaigned for years after that, I'd run into people every week that say, we really love that program. It made it possible for us to get that very first home.
There's probably never been anybody who was more prudent and careful and concerned about doing the right thing and being unwaveringly honest.
St. Thomas Aquinas said it was a lie when the words your lips form don't agree with the thoughts in your mind. Well, that happens a lot in politics. We try to say with the words our lips form what we really believed.
He wanted government to be a positive force for people, did not view it as a negative, and anything that it was doing wrong, let's correct it, and then let's go forward.
The moral imperative of government is how you treat those in the dawn of life, the children, those in the shadows of life, the disabled, the challenged, and those in the twilight of life, the elderly.
I saw very early on with Joe Brennan that he was personally courageous in a quiet way, and he was not afraid of tackling issues. And he would do it in a gentlemanly enough fashion, as he was later on, that he didn't stir the kind of wild opposition that someone who might have been more strident would have generated.
I can tell you, it is a long way from Munjoy Hill to the Blaine house. It's a lot of people that were willing to go all out for you, and a lot of families. I'll give you one example. The family of Jerry Conley Sr. It's the story of the Conley family, the Stilpen family, the Redmond family, so many of these families. I couldn't mention them all, that made it possible for me to serve in high offices and try to fight for social and economic justice.
Strong sense of justice.
The Irish have been good to me, and they've had a lot of opportunity here. I don't think there have been a lot of Irish governors, for example. I can think of one, that's about it.
I still believe that running a government is more than tending to a cash register. I still believe that a good job is the best road out of poverty. I still believe that government is the last and best hope for many of those in need.
It was a very progressive agenda that he was putting forward, and, you know, to his credit, I mean, he did it with a great deal of modesty, but very steel determination.
If you want to do something, if you want to try to make the majors in baseball, you're not likely to make it, but try. If you want to run for governor, try. Some people are hobbled about fear of failure. There's a lot of talent out there, and there's things that are worse than losing, and a thing that's worse than losing is not trying. Helping those who are left behind, that's what it's all about. Now, the Democratic Party was pretty good at that.
Roosevelt said, "The test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much. It is whether we provide enough for those who have too little." Thank you very, very much.